And
So-
the drawings were provided by Perkins and Will.
Well, I can see why then it didn't come to a 0, because the board hasn't been provided with any documentation to support why we would hire him. And this man would stand to earn 7.5 to 10% of, he's standing to make millions of dollars for his firm. And I think it's important that the district at least take a look at exactly what the documentation is. And then we go out for a request for proposal or a request for all potential people who have this specialized field that may come in at a different price than what he's charging. I know the architect's 8.9%, and with the other architect, Perkins and Will. But I'm just very disturbed by the fact that he was appointed when the board didn't even have a discussion about the process. And
We're having a discussion right now. I mean,
I'm just disturbed that we see it on the agenda, that we're appointing a person when the board hasn't even seen the plans.
but
The detailed plans have not been provided.
you're asking for the specifications,
I'd like to see what he's getting hired to do.
project management, he's gonna, I think Dr. Wall explained.
I-
If we went out to bid on this without a project manager, you'd have a general contractor. And general contractors, and I can tell you this, because I've represented a bunch of them, 15 to 25% are on the bid. That's general contractor fee.
We're
not paying that.
Where is Perkins and Will's final drawings to the board?
They have not done the specifications yet.
Okay, so
They
I mean,
have
this man
done-
would come in later, not before.
They have done drawings that the board has seen, that the public can see. They've been on our website since we adopted the master facility plan. The drawings that the board saw in priority 1 subset that we're looking at moving forward with, you've seen, the board has seen, and the community can see. Those drawings have all been there. We're recommending the construction management firm so that we can get this process done in a timely fashion, utilize district resources wisely, and not spend money on a general contractor.
Okay, that
And we
makes
did
sense.
vet this, we vetted this in the fall of 2010, looking at other firms that are construction management. We interviewed them. We had the questions about why is Gilbane charging nothing to do conceptual cost estimate. Doug answered it then. He answered it today, the same way he answered it in October of 2010. That was totally vetted through a very thorough process through interviews.
I'm just confused. Where did you come up with $13 million without doing any specifications? You came up with a number. That's what the board voted on tonight. How do we come up with $13 million without providing specifications specifically? I mean,
It's,
well,
Can I ask the question?
Go ahead, sure.
As one of the biggest construction management company in the country, okay, this is what we do. We manage school constructions. That being the case, based on the master plan that Perkins and Will provided, we took a look at the document. Based on our experience and knowledge, we did the estimate. We call it conceptual estimate. That's how the whole process starts. You gotta start from somewhere to set the budget. And based on our expertise, we looked at the master plan, we sort of figured in how much it was gonna cost. That was a conceptual estimate that we provided based on each category, which you have on our webpage.
okay, we did that with the artificial turf 3 years ago.
I didn't do
It
it.
was
I
supposed
didn't
to
do
be
it.
3.2 million. The day it was transferred over, it was actually 3.9, which is substantially a larger amount than what was the preliminary plan.
Because 2 practice fields were done and 2 stadium fields were done.
Right,
Came in
the
higher.
original was supposed to be 3.2 plus the 2 entrances at the 2 schools. The day the money was transferred, it was 3.9, and the day this board voted to approve the issuance of bonds, it was for 4 million. And only for turf, because we didn't have enough money for front entrances. So somewhere between the beginning of the process and the day the vote for the issuance of bonds, it came to almost 25% more. Can this district afford 25% over what this could possibly be? Unless we have more specifics, we can't afford to be wrong.
Now, with the Gilbane contract here, are they working for free again? Or are they gonna get paid now?
No, as I stated, it'll be 7.5 to 8.5% of the projects.
Okay, so why isn't that written down here? It just says give them a contract.
No, we're asking you to appoint them as the firm. We can bring the contract back at a later date as it relates to the construction of the projects we approved, once we take them to bid. But I'd like to appoint them so they can begin working with Perkins and Will to get these bid specs together.
Like, for instance, I don't know much about construction, but I do know, one of the names on here is Henry Brothers. And I do know they did a lot of construction for us. and we're
General
happy with it.
contractor,
Right. and
they
we're
did
happy-
GC.
Right, and we were happy with them.
They did a
And-
very good job
Right. So,
as a general contractor. They did an excellent job.
and they originally responded to do this, but they lost out to the zero bidding.
They responded as a construction manager, yes.
But I just think on the surface of it, anybody that heard this, that there's 7 firms that want 15 or 20,000 to do it. One firm says, I'll do it for free, and then a year later, that firm gets a very nice contract, 7.8% or 7.5% of what they're doing. Almost sounds like the kind of stuff that goes on in Springfield.
Well, that's offensive to say that. And
Well,
Mr. Lim is,
people don't
Mr.
work
Lim
for-
is,
That people do not work for free without an expectation.
well, if you're not satisfied with Mr. Lim's response, then that would be your answer. But we've
Well,
been
like
very
Diane
satisfied,
said,
we've been
the
very
board-
satisfied with his
The
work.
board never even talked about this, about whether we're satisfied with what's going on or not. We just say, appoint these guys. The board has never had a discussion.
We had a
about-
thorough discussion in fall of 2010 about the construction management
Right.
firms.
Since then, we have not had a discussion about, are you happy with Gilbane's work here? Is this the way to go, whatever? And I don't know if you talked to other board members or whatever, but there's never been a board discussion. And once again, just as a simple person, doing work for free doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'd like to ask the gentleman in the audience, if you, has there been any favoritism to any board member, anybody in the administration, any sorts of things?
Absolutely
Besides
not.
parties downtown? No. Is that a no?
Absolutely not.
Is there anybody else you'd like to insult, Mrs. Barrett? You have the
No,
floor.
it's a question I need to ask, because I'm a trustee of this board, and it's my fiduciary duty to make sure that if somebody was working for free and then they got the appointment without going through a request for proposal with a no-bid contract before, I think it's my duty to ask that question to the consultant.
Dennis, can we vote on this?
Yeah, we have a motion, a second on the floor. We've had discussion. Kathy, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Gallo?
Yes.
Mrs. Planton?
Aye.
Dr. Skoda?
No,
Mrs. Barrett?
No.
Mrs. Gorgo?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.